YouTube. This is Cubits here, and I've been playing with some cardboard. As you can see, this is my Zapper proof of concept, if you will. Yeah, it's a tube of cardboard. I'm not the greatest prototype maker, I must say. Although when it comes to doing rapid prototype development, sometimes the basics work really well, especially when you combine it with a little bit of hot glue. It takes about, 5 minutes to knock this thing together. And the reason I used cardboard, never mind that, and the reason I used cardboard here was just to get the lengths right, so I can get the balance of the screen to the forehand and rear hand weight. And what I've done here is I've jammed a nunchuck in the front. This gives you your forehand grip, so lets you control your motion forwards, backwards, left and right. Simple FPS stuff. Got a couple of buttons there as well, although you won't be using Z to ADS as you did in Call of Duty on the Wii and Wii U, because the stock is sprung, has a little button in it, so that's ADSing. And it doesn't come any more natural than actually ADSing by ADSing like this. You press it against your shoulder, and what that does is it restricts your movement, so you can't be insane like a mouse person does on the computer. What you do is what you get. So you can move really quickly like this, and if you've used Nintendo Land or what else we got, the Wii Street U thing, which I've got running here at the moment, as you can see, that means you can move really quickly, and if someone shoots you behind, you simply turn around 180 and you fire on them. So you've got a perfect 360-degree mapping of the world. So, it doesn't get any more intuitive than pointing at what you want to shoot. The Wiimote, had its bounding box issues and things like that, so it was a little bit limited. You had to get adjusted to when you were turning and when you were pointing and balance it off. It worked pretty well in the end. I do all right. But this, how easy is this? So simple. Point and shoot. Move with your front hand, ambidextrously, of course. So if you're a lefty, you're not left out in the breeze. Although, I'm terrible at this, so we'll go back to right-handed here. Now, what I've done here is, the way that I've got it balanced is for two reasons with the gamepad. Firstly, I have it far enough forward so that when you look down the stock, you're not going cross-eyed. And secondly, it puts most of the weight on your front hand. Now, most people want to probably go for a 50-50 balance, but if you put it on your front hand, you can actually go one-handed like this. And that means you can still use your gamepad controls. You can also do things like tap on the touch screen, like that. And this would be great for controlling kill streaks and things like that. How easy is that? You tap on the map where you want to go, bring your gun up once you're done, run and gun. All good. What else we can do here? We can look up and down. Now I'll show you here on the screen. How easy is this? You want to look up, you look up. You want to look down, you look down. Perfectly up is perfectly up, perfectly down is perfectly down. It's perfectly naturally balanced. So one of my favorite things, Call of Duty Ghosts introduced leaning. I don't know why, Battlefield 4 has leaning as well. Leaning is all the rage, even though I was doing it in the 90s in Rogue Spear games and whatnot. But it doesn't get any more natural than leaning in this. You can literally rotate the gun and the screen stays perfectly fixed upright for you. So if you want to shoot a guy from behind cover, you lean the gun. And just imagine your guy shifting over a little bit out of cover, take your shots, come back into cover. Doesn't get any more simple than that. As you can see, if a guy shoots you behind, you can just pop down like that, and you're on him. Really fast movement, of course. You can, this is hip firing. This is actual hip firing. Boom, from the hip. If you go to ADS mode, your turning speed is vastly reduced. And that's perfectly natural gameplay balance. You don't have to compensate for it with any stupid rules, any make-believe crap. It just works like a real gun. I've also glued some buttons on here. Yeah, hot glue skills. 4-button array. I wanted to see if they would be in reach of the trigger. And it works out quite handy. I can reach all 4. And by putting this little step in here, which was a complete accident by the way, that's just how the cardboard folded, it's very easy to gauge where the buttons are without having to look. So you can quickly go from firing to throwing grenades or what else you want to do. There's also a little D-pad I've thrown on there. and this sits under your thumb at all times, so for quick access to anything, jumping, map some things to it, lethal grenades, whatever you want to do. Go nuts. That's perfectly fine. So we've got a whole lot of buttons on here. Again, for lefties, you could just replicate these buttons on the other side. I ran out of classic controllers to mutilate, so wasn't going to cut up another one just to do that. For cost effectiveness, of course, it'd be very easy to just actuate one set of buttons through the middle of the Wii U Zapper here. Now, this is a really cheap piece of hardware to make. I mean, obviously the real one would cost a bit more than this one did. Look a little bit better too, and probably work better. But you just have your plastic chassis, and then you essentially have the guts, like the circuit board, from a classic controller or something in there. And those things are virtually free to make. It's a little printed PCB, a little wire that would connect into the connector that's on the bottom of the gamepad. You've probably seen it before. I'll give you a little look again as well. The other thing is, a lot of people are going, oh, well, people threw Wiimotes all through their TVs, imagine them dropping the gamepad. Look, the gamepad isn't going to fly off of one of these things. Nintendo actually had foresight here. I mean, we haven't seen anything of an actual Zapper, but if you look on the back of your gamepad, I'll show you the back here how I've got it set up. You've got two little hooks on the bottom here on either side. Two little hooks further up the top here, which I've got these pins put into. And there's also a screw hole, a reinforced metal-faced screw hole in there. Now, apart from like locking things to demo stations, that would be really handy. Just imagine a long screw running through the back of the gamepad with a little flag on the end. You wind it up with your fingers, the gamepad's going nowhere. You've probably also seen the results of gamepad drop tests. These things are built. It's probably why they don't have like a tiny little minimal bezel and stuff. No, they're made like Nintendo products. You could drop these all day long and they'll be fine. Not that you drop it anyway. I mean, it's really easy to hold. It's not heavy. It's not heavy. I mean, sure, you'll get tired if you play this for like 6 hours, but then I've played Time Crisis for 6 hours with like a 200-gram gun, and it does start to kill the shoulder, you know, like Wii Sports does. Yeah, so that's a pretty good look. I mean, this is something that I've been hanging out for since, well, since it's shown E3 in 2011. 2 years. 2 years, and we've seen nary a peep of this device. And I don't get it. I mean, it's like 20 bucks to make, all guts included. Throw it in with the game. If this was supported in the next Call of Duty, it'd be great. I mean, it'd be a great opportunity for Nintendo to show that you don't need more small fires and super graphics to make a really great FPS, to move the genre ahead. This will do it. You've got everything you need. You just need to buy the little peripheral, which, I mean, people have been buying peripherals. People bought 42 million balance boards or something. So Nintendo can shift peripherals, and this is a game changer for FPS games. And if you offer this as an option alongside your dual analog and the Wiimote, like Call of Duty currently does on the Wii U, you're just adding more opportunity, more value for gamers without necessarily going to extreme lengths. If you just have this as an option, of course, you can always just park your ass and play like you normally do if you don't want to stand up for a few hours and, you know, be a man. But yeah, I think this will really change the game. Nintendo needs to get their ass into gear, get these things done, send them over to Treyarch, get them thrown in the next Call of Duty, and people won't be wondering about like how high res your dog is this year, because there's a new game in town. I think Killzone Shadowfall proved that shinier graphics does not a better game make. Better gameplay is what a better game makes, and this makes better games. So yeah, I'm going to work on some more prototypes after this. I do have a foam cutter, so I can make some foam and fiberglass models. I can throw some real working buttons in there as well, and I'll probably chuck a Wiimote in there too, just to control the whole thing so I can pretend what I'm doing. Yeah, so, I mean, check it out. It works, and this actually is it's got a bit of smoothing on it in Wii Street U. So there's a little bit of a delay in the response, but believe me, that's not the hardware's fault. This is the fastest screen you'll see. Most TVs aren't as latency free as the gamepad is. It's perfectly built for this. It's got speakers on it as well, so you can get feedback, you can get stereo feedback. A bit of surround sound if you got your TV. Another interesting feature on this thing, baked right into the gamepad, not used, abandoned, if you will, is the front-facing camera here. Now, you know, no one's included into many games. Wii U chat's kind of pointless. I've used it once just to see how it goes. But I don't know if you recall, there was a guy called Johnny Lee who did the Wii head tracking video, who pushed that technology of head tracking. Now that required you to wear a silly hat and have a second Wii remote pointing at you from the television. And then that could do like a nice pseudo 3D. It looks really good. Yeah, really nice stuff. Of course you have to wear a silly hat. Nintendo released a game on the DSi, that, you know, the stepchild of the DS generation, which was called Luxley's lineup. I'll put a link in the description. So Luxley's lineup used face recognition on the camera to see where your face was and then give you a pseudo 3D thing, which actually worked really well, you know, if you're in a well-lit room. Of course, the camera in that thing was a bit crap, and the processing power of the DS itself was not fantastic, but luckily that's remedied with this guy here. Gamepad's got a way better camera, can handle a bit more light range too, and so all you need to do, I mean, is if you're in ADS mode, it sees your face, and then if you shift slightly, it'll give you a 3D effect looking into the screen. So it'll generate a fairly strong 3D effect in your brain. So it doesn't even have to be constant. It can just be like a little bit here and there, just not wildly flailing around, obviously, because that's not going to help anyone. But it will generate a sense of depth, and your brain will actually go, oh yeah, that's that far away. That's that far away. Just from a tiny little wiggle or deviation of your face as you turn will generate that 3D effect. That would be hell's crazy. Nintendo has the technology. I mean, they've done face raiders on the 3DS, where you use your 3DS as a gun in 3D space. Of course, the gyro, the geomagnetic unit on this, the compass, if you will, is a lot more sensitive. Combine that with the other accelerometers and gyros, it's really sweet. I mean, if you try it in Nintendo Land, that runs at 60 frames a second in that plaza, and it is really crisp. And you can just tilt away, turn around, and it just follows fantastically. It's just great. If you jam a Wiimote on the front of this, like the old Wii Zapper, and you gain that little bit of IR focus, say on your TV, you just imagine you're looking at your main game on the screen, and what you see down your scope is like Silent Scope, the arcade game, where you have that zoomed-in view, so you can do your sniper missions. My favorite application for that kind of setup, a little more elaborate, of course, because it requires you to have a peripheral and another peripheral, the Wiimote. It's a bit of a stretch, but there are a lot of Wiimotes around. What that'll let you do in, say, Metroid Prime games would give you your regular view, of course, on the screen. So you just have your normal view, and then through your gamepad you could have the X-ray visor. So it'd be looking like looking through a visor. That would be pretty sweet. I'd be down for that. I don't know what Retro's busy playing with. Hopefully they've got something happening apart from Donkey Kong. Because as much as I love that game, I love Metroid Prime more. So yeah, Call of Duty Metroid Prime, I don't know, Duck Hunt. Work it out, Nintendo. Bring me the Wii U Zapper in all its glory. It wouldn't cost much to make. You can do it. You've set up the technology. You've shown us the damn thing. And this could be far more accessible than the Oculus Rift for $20. Do it.